The frozen hell of Oymyakon, a survival epic thought. In the vast plains of remote Siberia, there is a place that even geographic maps seem to tremble at mentioning: Oymyakon, the land known as the Pole of Cold. This is not merely a location, but the cruelest test of nature for human endurance, where the cold is no longer a weather condition, but has become a powerful predatory entity. Imagine standing in a white void so blinding it leaves you breathless, where temperatures of -70 degrees Celsius turn the air into a thick fluid that freezes your lungs from the very first inhalation. Every time you exhale, your warmth instantly transforms into sharp ice crystals, colliding with one another to create a faint whistling sound that locals call the whisper of the stars. In this white hell, life is as fragile as a silken thread before a hurricane, and every rule of modern civilization completely collapses. Metal becomes as brittle as glass, fuel freezes solid as stone, and the boundary between life and death is separated only by the faint glow of a stove. In today's video, we will not just talk about record-breaking numbers, but together we will step into a journey to the very depths of hardship, to see how flesh and blood humans have survived while walking dozens of kilometers through the apocalyptic night, just for a loaf of bread. This is a story of iron will, of warm human connection amidst a frozen ocean, and a vivid warning of a vision where the Earth's heart stops beating, inviting you to venture into the land where life is but a fragile clue amidst the eternal ice age. In the vast plains of Yakutia, deep within the heart of Siberia, there lies a place known as Oymyakon, the Pole of Cold. A reality so brutal exists here that every imagination of the apocalypse fades into insignificance. This is no ordinary winter. This is the kingdom of eternal frost, where temperatures plummeting to -50 or -70 degrees Celsius transform the air into a lethal poison that freezes the lungs from the very first breath. In this blinding white void, the cold is not merely a weather condition. It is a physical entity with a soul, a silent assassin lurking behind every howling gust of wind. Every meter traveled here is not just a geographical distance, but a gamble with life itself between mankind and the ferocity of nature. Close your eyes and imagine waking up in Oymyakon, when the last of your essential supplies in the kitchen have run dry. To obtain a dry loaf of bread or a bag of survival salt, the residents of remote villages must undertake a literal march of martyrdom. They must walk across immense snowfields without a single tree for shelter, where blizzards scream with the power of 1,000 demons demanding their lives. There are families living in isolation, separated from the nearest shopping center or grocery store by 30 or 40 kilometers, in -60-degree conditions. This journey is a torture lasting 8 to 10 hours of continuous walking through snow deep enough to swallow a man's knees. Every step is a phenomenal effort of will as the legs lose all sensation. The blood in the veins seems to thicken into tar under the pressure of the deathly cold, and heavy layers of animal fur cannot stop the frost from piercing to the very marrow of the bones. If they stop to rest for even 5 minutes, the cold will instantly lock their joints, and they will remain forever beneath the white snow, becoming solitary ice statues guarding the roadside for eternity. This life of hardship does not end with the journey. It seeps into every breath, every meal, and every minor habit of daily existence. In Oymyakon, running water is a distant luxury that does not exist, because every pipe, no matter how thick the steel, is crushed by the frost and explodes after a single extreme night. Water does not come from a tap. It comes from heavy axe blows struck against the heart of a river frozen 2 meters deep. People must carry blocks of ice weighing dozens of kilograms on their shoulders, crossing blurred snowpaths to bring them home, placing them on the heating stove to trade for every precious drop of water after hours of waiting in desperate patience. Personal hygiene becomes a haunting obsession lasting for months on end. Can you believe it? There are residents in this polar region who go for 6 long months of winter without ever touching warm water. They cannot bathe inside because the rising steam would instantly dampen the wooden walls and freeze the house from the inside out. If they want to bathe, they must perform the madness of smashing the ice on the river surface. Jumping into water so cold it turns the body numb, and the moment they step back onto land, their flesh will fuse to the frozen air and can be torn off instantly if not shrouded in warming animal skins immediately. Clothing is also a story of endurance. They almost never dare to do laundry during the winter, because if you take a shirt to the river to wash, the fabric fibers will immediately be crystallized. They become as brittle as thin panes of glass and will shatter the moment you try to wring them out. They accept living with the smell of wood smoke, the scent of soot and animal fat pungent on their bodies, because that is the only way to keep the pores from opening before the murderous cold. Nay, food in this polar extreme is not for enjoyment. Onis! It is a strategy for survival. A human body at minus 60 degrees requires 5 times the normal calories just to keep the internal temperature from falling into the death zone. Slices of frozen raw fish called stroganina that crunch between the teeth. Pieces of reindeer liver still drenched in fresh blood. And gulps of thick animal fat are the only energy sources that keep their hearts beating. In this white hell, all rules of cleanliness or glamour become meaningless. Only the rawest survival instinct between man and cruel nature remains. Look at the cars idling continuously in the endless white night. They growl like the only living entities still carrying warmth in the frozen ocean. Drivers in Yakutia never dare to turn off their engines, not even to sleep or enter a grocery store, because they know that if the motor stops for 10 minutes, the oil will harden into stone and the vehicle will forever turn into a steel coffin. The sound of engines running 24/7 throughout the winter is the heartbeat of this civilization. If that sound stops, the silence of death will shroud everything. This extreme cold does not just freeze the body. It seems to freeze time and space themselves, turning the lives of the people here into an epic of blood and tears. They survive not because they are stronger than nature, but because they know how to humble themselves and adapt to it absolutely. Every breath of theirs is a confirmation that the human will is the only thing that cannot be frozen. Amidst blizzards that erase all direction, where visibility is nothing but a blinding white void, every step outside is a gamble with fate. If this cold were to spread across the globe, life would be but fragile clues found beneath the eternal snow. Oymyakon is not just a name on a map. It is a reminder of the fragility of human civilization before the power of the earth. Here, survival is not a choice, but a miracle created by solidarity and the warm bond of humanity amidst the frozen ocean. They survive by respecting the cold as a fierce deity, by never walking alone in the blizzard, and by hands that are always ready to warm one another. The minus 70-degree cold strips away all falsehoods, leaving behind only the most ironclad souls, the true warriors who continue to write the final chapter of human history in the heart of a white hell that never melts. This is the brutal reality of the coldest place on Earth, where people must fight every second to avoid becoming part of the cold, soulless permafrost. In a world where warmth has become a distant memory, and life is but a fragile clue amidst the white apocalypse.